FAB-Racing.
Ethan Sparks has been absolutely sensational so far this season. He's got a 50% win rate on the season, 9 wins out of 18 races so far this season. He's only non-scored in 1 round in the entire season. That was race 1 back at Wilton Mill. 17 podiums involved in those races, so 17 out of 18 races on the podium. It's just been a stunning season for the 62 from Maidstone in Kent, and he's looking at wrapping up that championship if he can outscore Archie Gibbs this weekend. And yeah, it's pretty well. I don't want to say it's looking nailed on, but you've got to think, if you're Ethan Sparks, he just knows that he's got to stay on the bike, pick up a couple of points, and he'll find himself AC40 Pro champion.
Yeah, absolutely so. I mean, if we don't go to Clandau at the next round, round 8, if that doesn't go ahead, then Ethan Sparks will already be your AC40 Pro champion. But he can't be thinking like that at all, because he needs to be racking these points up in case we do go to Clandau at the next round. In the case that it does go ahead in this race, he can't win the championship, but if he finishes in front of Gibbs in this race and in the next race, he will be your AC40 Pro champion. But it is Archie Gibbs who is on that pole position. Plenty of names also in this one who are firm podium contenders as well. It's not just about the two at the front. There's Marco Holt, Thorley Trevorrow in there, who we've seen knocking on the doors of podiums all season long. Joshua Williams as well. He's a rider that we saw pick up wins as well earlier this season. But it's Archie Gibbs then who's on pole position ahead of your championship leader, Ethan Sparks. The number 58 of Marco Holt is in 3rd place on the grid ahead of Thorley Trevorrow. Joshua Williams rounds out the top 5 ahead of Archie O'Brien, the number 91. Luke Fitchett, the number 7, in 7th place on the grid ahead of Bill Harris in 8th. Byron Johnson, the number 37, graduate from the AC40 rookies, in 9th, ahead of Harrison Day in 10th, his first weekend in the AC40 Pros this weekend. Austin Johnson, the number 27, brother of Byron, in 11th, and Noah Guillory, the number 41, rounding out the grid in 12th spot.
Yeah, and you can see how close the top 2 were. 0.03 of a second split Archie Gibbs and Ethan Sparks for pole position in this morning's qualifying session, sorry. But yeah, it was that close, but Ethan Sparks is very much going to be the rider to beat in this one, as they have to make their way around an ever-increasing slippery circuit. The rain is once again coming down. It's not decided what he wants to do. We're having another rain shower here, so these riders are going to have to make their way around, especially the opening lap at racing speed, very carefully indeed, because it's very easy to make a mistake. And if you're the likes of Ethan Sparks, you're going to be wanting to make sure you keep on 2 wheels and just get across that finish line at the end of the race, as Archie Gibbs just gets his visor wiped, getting ready to look to the lights and kick off their first race of the weekend here in the AC40 Pro class, as they look to the lights, getting ready for the first race of the weekend. AC40 Pro action here as they go down towards turn 1. It's a good start from Gibbs, holds on to the lead of this one. Sparks is trying to go around the outside of him, going into centre at turn 2, unable as Archie Gibbs very much closes the door. But it's a good getaway from Marco Holt now in 3rd position. He's just about holding on to position ahead of Thorley Trevorrow and Josh Williams in 5th position.
Yeah, and a perfect start there from Archie Gibbs, exactly what he needed, and already pulling away at the front here. So possibly we could see Archie Gibbs running away with this one. We've seen him do it in the past. We see some marshals running. That's Archie Gibbs that's gone down. That's your race leader who's down and out of this race. He's going to try and get back onto the bike and back into this race. And if you're Ethan Sparks, you're going to be really licking your lips at that one.
Yeah, and what we were saying is that tentative, you've got to be careful and cautious on lap 1. And yeah, unfortunately for Archie, just going down, we've seen already that corner catch out a number of riders so far today. And once again, Archie Gibbs just getting caught out on lap 1. We've seen that a couple of times so far this season, especially in these tricky conditions. But that means that Ethan Sparks will lead across the line from Thorley Trevorrow, who's made his way up past Marco Holt into 2nd position. Marco down to 3rd. Josh Williams in 4th. Archie O'Brien has made his way up from 6th into 5th position, with Archie Gibbs' unfortunate fall at turn 4. And that is a great news if you're Ethan Sparks. He will, as you say, be licking his lips with this, just knowing that he just has to stay on on that bike and get to the flag.
Yeah, absolutely so, but he's really coming under trouble now by the likes of Thorley Trevorrow, Marco Holt right on his rear wheel. You can also see Byron Johnson in there having a really good ride, staying on the back of these guys, and there's a big battle at the front here between all these guys, and they're all going to be wanting to take wins as going into the end of this season. Ethan Sparks doesn't need to risk too much, of course, with his second place man in the championship, and now further down this field after that crash, and we're going to keep an eye on how Archie gets on after his restart. But Thorley Trevorrow now right on the rear wheel of Ethan Sparks at the front of this race, so we could very well see a change for the lead any time soon. Also Marco Holt in there, and Joshua Williams, a rider who we've just seen drop off form lately compared to his pace earlier in the season.
Yeah, and I'm sure Josh will be looking at picking up, but there's a change for the lead, and up into the lead of the race goes Thorley Trevorrow. Great move there from the young rider, who only picked up his first podiums of the season 1 round ago at Rowrah, and at the moment he's leading this one and has got himself up ahead of championship leader Ethan Sparks, who's not looking particularly comfortable out there on circuit in these greasy conditions. And Thorley, great move there from the 42 up into the leaders run. Marco Holt now starting to look at the back of Ethan Sparks, and we've got ourselves a little bit of a 4-5 bike battle for the lead here.
Yeah, absolutely so, and any one of these riders can win this race. Byron Johnson is really impressing me here, right on the back wheel of Archie O'Brien, and in these wet weather conditions really coming into his own into the AC40 Pro category. Of course, graduated this year from the AC40 rookies, as Bill Harris looks to go up the inside of him. Luke Fitcher also in there as well, so all these riders doing battle at the front of this AC40 Pro championship, as we see a rider down and out there. I think that was Harrison Day who was down, and it is the number 15 of Harrison Day, Josh Day, just kicking the bike there, a little bit disappointed with that, so perhaps a bike issue there for the number 15 of Harrison Day. Josh just carrying Harrison away back into the paddock. Really unfortunate there at the front of these. Ethan Sparks now has dropped down into third place, so that's Marco Holt now, the number 58, up into second, and now he's coming under threat as well from Josh Williams, who's all over his back wheel. Ethan Sparks just looks to one side. Joshua Williams doesn't find a way through at the moment, but it's Thorley Trevorrow now at the front of this one, who's just got a little bit of breathing space.
Yeah, this is interesting to see from Ethan if this is just tactical. He knows that championship, or the only man that could really beat him in the championship is Archie Gibbs. Archie is 30 seconds off the pace, and is this just Ethan just circulating, making sure he doesn't make any mistakes, just knowing that he needs to pick up some points and that championship is his? Oh,
absolutely. So you're going to be thinking that championship is definitely on his mind. He can't win it in this race 1, but could very well win it in race 2, so he just needs to pick up points. He just needs to be beating Archie Gibbs, and with Archie Gibbs down in 11th place, obviously he would have seen that Archie Gibbs has crashed out. He'll be assuming that Archie's rejoining, so he just needs to make sure he's finishing in front of Archie. Doesn't need to be doing anything stupid, doesn't need to be taking too many risks, but still in third place in this race, so still in a good position to be picking up points here, as Marco Holt, who set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, looking really menacing. Only 0.2 of a second it was across the line behind Thorley Trevorrow, so he's challenging for a win here, and it will be his first win of the year if he can make that stick, equally for the number 42 of Thorley Trevorrow.
Archie O'Brien looking like he's not enjoying that bike at the moment. It's a little bit screw-iff and just moving around the circuit, and it's allowed Bill Harris through up into 5th position. Now Byron Johnson starting to look at the back of Archie O'Brien, but Thorley Trevorrow is trying to fight out for the lead of this one. He's holding on to it, with Marco Holt looking very racy indeed as they come into Senna at turn 2, now into turn 3 as they go down towards the 180, the hairpin at the end of the first sector of this lap, and Marco Holt will be desperately wanting to pick up a win in this one. But if you're Thorley, he picked up his first result. Is that was one of this 37 as Byron Johnson that's gone down. Unfortunately for Byron, he was fighting very nicely in the top end of that in that fight for the 5th, 6th and 7th position, but unfortunately just falling foul of these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely not what you want to be doing at all there. Really unfortunate for Byron Johnson. Was going so well in this race as well, but it looks as if Ethan Sparks has just regrouped a little bit, because he's just finding his way back onto the back of these guys. Marco Holt has really caught your race leader, but Ethan Sparks now is all over the back wheel of both of them as well, so he's found some pace in this one. Hasn't done anything too rash at the beginning of this race. Let the grip come to him, let himself feel what the grip's like out there, and now is really coming to his own in this race. He's gapped Joshua Williams, who's just behind, and that's Luke Fitchett, who's rejoining the race, the number 7. So possibly a crash for him, but he's coming back out into this race, looking really tentative after that one. So possibly a crash there for the number 7, but it's Thorley Trevorrow who's still leading this race. Marco Holt with the tighter line through the hairpin, tries to get underneath. Thorley Trevorrow can't quite make a move stick there, but Ethan Sparks now right onto the back of these guys, so it's just finding some pace later in this race.
Well, what does this mean for the championship? Well, it means very good news if you are Ethan Sparks. With Archie Gibbs way down the order, it means that Ethan Sparks will need even less points in race 2 to sew up this championship that is looking very much nailed on. He came into the weekend with a 95-point lead in the championship. However, he's currently fighting in 3rd, but he's now, as you say, just regrouped a little bit. He's got himself back into this lead battle. Thorley Trevorrow, Marco Holt are still fighting over 1st and 2nd. Ethan just starting to close in and just dragging Josh Williams, who's not out of this one yet. No,
absolutely not. He's absolutely going with these guys, just hanging on to their coattails, but he's catching this leading group as well. So the likes of Thorley Trevorrow, Marco Holt need to be careful now, because they've got Ethan Sparks and Josh Williams all over the back wheel. As here reports, the number 41 of Noah Guillory has gone down at the final corner, but back to these guys at the front. It's still Thorley Trevorrow leading this one, and just seeming like he's pulling away a little bit from Marco Holt, but Marco getting a good drive on down that back straight. So Marco really trying to stay with the number 42 of Thorley Trevorrow. All these guys matched for pace on that last lap, all in the 57s, and it was actually Joshua Williams who was fastest on circuit last time round. We'll see who it will be this time, but really good form there from Joshua Williams. Earlier in the season he got 7 podiums out of the first 9 races, but now that is Ethan Sparks up into 2nd place. So your championship leader now looking to bring home 20 points in this race, and that's a crucial 20 points for this championship, as Thorley Trevorrow sets the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. So your race leader pulling away at the front. That's a 1-second lead that Thorley Trevorrow has now over the number 62 of Ethan Sparks. So now it's a 3-rider battle for 2nd place. Will Ethan Sparks be able to catch Thorley Trevorrow? Well, he's only got half a lap left.
Yeah, this is going to be it's going to be a real push for Ethan Sparks. He knows he just needs to pick up some good points. Thorley Trevorrow is looking for his first win here in the AC40 Pros. He's just got half a lap to do it, and he's got to hold off Ethan Sparks, who is closing him down. Marco Holt is still in 3rd position. Marco Holt, who's picked up 6 podiums so far this season, will be looking for a 7th, but coming down to the final corner, it's getting close. In fact, as they come up to the line, it's going to be ever so close. Thorley Trevorrow up to the line. Can he hold on to it? Ethan Sparks pulls out, but across the line, it is Thorley, and he picks up his first win, and he is absolutely ecstatic. Thumbs up there from Ethan Sparks. Thorley was delighted at that one. Got to the front at the start, and what a brilliant result from him. The 42 has worked hard for this one.
Absolutely incredible stuff from the number 42 of Thorley Trevorrow. A well-deserved win in these slippery conditions for Thorley, and he looks delighted with that one. Fist in the air, celebrating that one. His first win of the season. Of course, his best result before this was 3rd place. So now to be picking up that win, I'm sure feels absolutely brilliant. You can see the delight through the visor in his face as he waves at the camera, then make sure he's looking where he's going. But Thorley Trevorrow, brilliant stuff.
Yeah, and nerves are still there, as you can see. A couple of the riders just discussing. That's Marco Holt there, just discussing how his race went, and he picked up a 3rd position. But Ethan Sparks with the fastest lap on that last lap, just trying to push in. But it is Thorley Trevorrow, first race win here in the pros for him. Less than a 1/10 of a second in it between himself and Ethan Sparks, the championship leader. Marco Holt in 3rd position with Josh Williams in 4th. Bill Harris, good result there, moving up from 8th position into 5th. Byron Johnson and Austin Johnson making up moves, 6th and 7th position for the pair from Thrillford. Archie O'Brien in 8th, with Archie Gibbs managing to get back up into 9th position ahead of Noah Guillory after Noah going down at the final corner. So Archie losing some crucial points that would delay this championship crowning for Ethan Sparks.
Yeah, absolutely so. Ethan Sparks will be looking to get that championship wrapped up in race 2, and you can look forward to that tomorrow. So make sure to tune in to see.
It is going to be Ethan Sparks, the 62, your champion for the AC40 Pros, and he is, I'm sure, very happy. You spoke to him on Friday, and he's going for a championship. Well, he's got one in the AC40s, and he's going in the MKGP 50s too. So Ethan Sparks will, I'm sure, be absolutely delighted waking up this morning knowing that he's got already one championship in the bag. Just a little bit more work to do as they head out for their warm-up lap.
Yeah, it also means there's less pressure on Ethan Sparks going into this one. Doesn't need to go out and score any points at all, really, because he's already won that championship. I'm sure he's going to be going out there to prove that he has what it takes to be the champion. But it is Archie Gibson who is on pole position ahead of Ethan Sparks, your 2020 champion. Marco Holt, the number 58, is third place on the grid ahead of the number 42 of Thorley Trevorrow. Josh Williams, the number 78, lines up in fifth spot on the grid ahead of Archie O'Brien. The number 7 of Luke Fitcher is in 7th, just ahead of Bill Harris in 8th. Byron Johnson, the number 37, he lines up in 9th place ahead of Harrison Day in 10th. Austin Johnson, brother to Byron, lines up in 11th, just ahead of Noah Guillory in 12th spot on the number 41, and rounding out your grid here for the AC40 Pros. Race 2 coming up very, very shortly as they come round to complete their warm-up lap and head on to the grid to start their first race of the day here, and it's for their last race day of this year.
Yeah, and watch out for the 42 of Thorley Trevorrow in 4th position. Had a brilliant day yesterday, and Thorley will once again be hoping to have the same luck once again in this one. And yeah, this is championship decided. However, 2 more races to go as they get ready to look to the lights and start the second race of their weekend here from Red Lodge Circuit in Suffolk. This is the second race of the weekend for the AC40 Pros as they look to the lights. Lights on, lights off. Who gets the better launch off the line? It's going to be Ethan Sparks from second, who sweeps around the outside of Gibbs into the lead going into turn 1. Marco Holt was looking to the inside of Archie, but the door has very much been shut in his face. So Archie Gibbs drops back into second position behind. Everyone starts to filter the way through turn 3 and into the 180 for the first time. Looks as though everyone's got away cleanly, but brilliant start for Ethan Sparks.
Yeah, brilliant start there from Ethan Sparks, absolutely. And round the outside of Archie Gibbs into turn 1. Brilliant move to take the lead in this race. He's going out there and proving that why he is the champion in this AC40 Pro category, and already has a little bit of a lead now over Archie Gibbs. So Gibbs just needs to be able to regroup and make sure he can get back onto the back of Ethan Sparks. Still, of course, a long way to go left in this race, but battles all the way through this field, and these two have gotten away out the front now, and it's Thorley Trevorrow who's in third place and defending that third place, but that's Bill Harris, the number 14, that's gone down on the far end of the circuit. So a disaster first lap for Bill Harris, and that's the number 42 of Thorley Trevorrow that's gone down as well. So that was your third place man out of this race. He tries to get restarted and back into this race. We've seen this a few times from Thorley. He always puts himself in a good position, but sometimes just makes that one mistake and crashes out. Yeah,
just a little bit over eager from Thorley there. Perhaps just realised that he was in the battle for the lead and just overcooked it a little bit, and unfortunately for him that was dropped him to the back of the field. However, Ethan Sparks leading away, the 62, the champion in this AC40 Pro class. He's looking at doing it on both the Minimoto and on the Metrica GP50 bike a little bit later on. Will it be a double championship day for the rider from Maidstone in Kent? He will definitely be hoping so, but he's definitely been, we were discussing this last night over dinner, our star of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. So possibly wrapping up 2 championships this year and being so consistent in both of them. Hardly any DNFs, hardly any finishing positions off the podium. He's been so consistently on the podium, which has been such an impressive thing from Ethan Sparks. And of course, the one of the only riders in any championship to have done a hat-trick on the weekend and picked up 3 race wins from 3. He's done it in the AC40 Pros. He's also done it in the MKGP50s. So it's really impressive from him. But this battle now for third place between the number 58 of Marco Holt and the number 75 of Joshua Williams is hotting up really nicely. We can also see Byron Johnson having a brilliant race up into 5th place ahead of Archie O'Brien. So that's a brilliant ride so far from Byron Johnson. We'll have to wait and see how his race pans out as well. But now Josh Williams having a look up the inside of Marco Holt. Can't make a move sick here. Now back to Byron Johnson and Archie O'Brien. These two battling it out for 5th place. Archie, a rider we see really quick over in the LC40 Elite category. Equally quick here, but not quite as much of a dominant force in this one as he is on the liquid cool bikes.
No, which is strange, but it's good to see Byron Johnson right up there in the thick of it. And I think that really shows that this AC40 Rookies Cup that we've just seen the likes of Oliver Hall take that win in is working, because they come up, they're race ready to come into this pro class.
Yeah, absolutely so. And you can tell that Byron Johnson has done a lot of learning in his first year of racing the AC40 rookies. He's gone and got podiums, wins in that. Then he's moved up to this one. It's taking him a little bit of time to get used to this category, and it will do, because of course he is in his first season of racing. And a lot of these riders have done a lot of seasons before. Even Ethan Sparks, your champion, he was second in this championship last year. So all these riders do have that extra little bit of edge of experience over the likes of Byron Johnson, Austin Johnson, Harrison Day, who's also moved up from the AC40 rookies. But it's a brilliant system, because they're in the AC40 rookies. They're able to battle it out with each other, and riders like Harrison Day, who we're looking at now, who's just following Bill Harris. Harrison Day down in 9th place in this race. We saw him dominate the AC40 rookies back at Rower, and now he's having a go in this one, and it's going to push his level on a lot more as well, because now he's with riders who are a little bit quicker. The level's a little bit higher here in the AC40 Pros, and he's going to be learning 10 times quicker than he was back in the AC40 rookies. But he's managed to get some wins and podiums under his belt, so he knows what it's like to fight at the front of races as well. So when he does get to the front of this championship, he won't be in unfamiliar territory. But it's Ethan Sparks who is at the front of this one and set the fastest lap of the race last time round.
No, absolutely not, and you're completely right, as Bill Harris sends it up the inside of Luke Fitchett going into the 180, and this is a nice little ride for Bill Harris after going down earlier on. He's now forced his way back through into 8th position from the back of the grid. So yeah, nice little run for the 14, just deciding to get back on the bike and back underway. He's now got to close in on Austin Johnson, of course, brother to Byron Johnson, who's a little bit further up the road, and Bill looking very strong.
Yeah, absolutely so. Bill Harris all over the rear wheel of Austin Johnson at the moment, after that crash he had earlier on. I believe it was through that corner that he's just gone through as well. But this is your race leader, Ethan Sparks, the number 62, flying out the front. 8.6 second lead he has ahead of the number 3 of Archie Gibbs, and that battle for second place in the championship hotting up really nicely as well. Archie Gibbs is second place in this race, Josh Williams in 4th, and it's Josh Williams who moved up into second place in the championship overnight. Yeah,
and the battle between Archie Gibbs and Josh Williams is really starting to heat up for second in that championship, because Ethan Sparks, your 2020 AC40 Pro champion, has been a stunning rider to watch so far this season. He just looks so smooth on the bike, whether it be this mini moto, of course the 40cc air-cooled, and of course the MKGP, the Metrokit GP50 bike, which he will be getting onto later in that battle between himself and Ronnie Harris, which he's looking quite well placed to take a double championship. But Ethan once again leading away, which is something we've seen a lot from him so far this season. He's had taken up to yesterday half of this season's race wins, so it shows you just how strong and dominant he's been, and you've got to think that he's definitely one to watch for the future. I'm sure Ethan Sparks is a name we'll be seeing moving up into the BSB paddock in just a few years' time.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talked to him the other day, he was telling us about how he has his eyes set on the British Talent Cup, like a lot of these riders do, and he'll be looking to move up into the MKGP 70 class next year, and he's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with in that one, because we saw how fast he is on the GP50s as well. But Archie O'Brien now has made his way through on Byron Johnson and Austin Johnson, and Bill Harris now right on the back of Byron and Archie. So this battle for 5th place is now a 4-rider train. For 5th place is as Byron Johnson goes round the outside of Archie O'Brien and leaves me lost for words there, but a brilliant move there from Byron Johnson. Archie just got a little bit unsettled, just a little bit too much of a tight line there from Archie, and that allowed Byron to go round the outside of him. But now it's Austin Johnson who's having a look at Archie O'Brien as well. But Bill Harris, this is a brilliant recovery from him after crashing out earlier on.
Yeah, all the way back up into 8th position at the moment, and in this battle that could take him all the way up into 5th. So yeah, brilliant ride for the 14 of Bill Harris. He's just got to navigate his way around, keep it on 2 wheels, and Archie O'Brien, who's desperately trying to hold off the second of the Johnson brothers, with Byron having passed him on the last lap. Austin looking very racy indeed in this one, and it's good to see Austin having a better run. He had a bit of fall in Friday practice, and maybe it shook him up a little bit. So he got back on the bike and he did very nicely indeed. But he's now closing in on a multi-time winner in the LC40 Elite class, Archie O'Brien, who, like you say, just hasn't quite had the pace in this AC40 Pro class. And in fact, can Austin look around the outside? That's a move we've seen done, especially up in the GP 70s with Lucas Brown and Johnny Garness. They'll be heading out on circuit later today, and Austin trying to go around the outside as we go on to the final lap, with Ethan Sparks leading this this one away from Archie Gibbs in second position. Marco Holt looking for a 7th podium on the season. However, it's that man, Ethan Sparks, that will be looking at picking up his 10th win here in the AC40 Pro class. And he's done it in style. He's got a huge lead, 13 seconds over Archie Gibbs.
Yeah, really impressive stuff from Ethan Sparks. We've seen him do it many times before, but here is your 2020 AC40 Pro champion, crosses the line and takes another victory for Ethan Sparks. Been absolutely dominant at the front of this class, and that is why he is your 2020 AC40 Pro champion here at the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. Archie Gibbs will come across the line to take second place, and that'll be good in his championship battle between him and Joshua Williams. But this battle for 5th place is also going down to the wire between Byron Johnson, Archie O'Brien, Austin Johnson and Bill Harris to go down into the final corner for the final time, and it's going to be Byron Johnson that picks up that 5th place ahead of Archie O'Brien and his competitors. Brilliant 5th place there from Byron Johnson. That's a very well deserved result from him after moving up from the AC40 rookies. But there he is, your 2020 champion.
Yeah, what a season that man has had. Ethan Sparks should be absolutely delighted with himself. And the 62, well, we will see that. I'm sure that number coming up for the future in a lot of different categories. And very much, I said earlier on, he's a bit of a lightning in a bottle rider. And he comes around and he's going to do a victory lap to celebrate this championship in the AC40 Pro champion. Ethan Sparks rolling into P1. Well, that's where he's used to being. And well, what more can we say? He's had a superlative season. We've said almost every round that he's looking as though he's been getting towards this championship. And then finally, as you say, back at Rara, we didn't know at the time, but he'd clinched it. And then, well, this weekend he's just been consistent. And well, what a way to confirm yourself, but by picking up another victory.
Exactly, absolutely so. And he's been the only rider who's been up there every single round, and he's been picking up wins at every single round that he's been in. He's the only rider also to pick up a hat-trick of wins back at the first round at Lid. 3 wins from 3 he took at round 1, and he's picked up multiple wins ever since, and he's just been absolutely dominant at the front of this one. Going into this weekend, he had 17 out of 18 podiums, and there he is standing up and just enjoying this victory lap. Enjoy it while you can, Ethan, because that was a brilliant AC40 Pro championship from yourself. And he's going to be going out to do battle later on in the MKGP 50s as well. Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do today, but however, he can enjoy this one just out there on his own. He led from the front and got away 13-second lead, and it gives a wave to the camera. And well, that is a deserved champion there in this 2020 AC40 Pro class. And Ethan Sparks, very much a name to watch out for in the future. And we've seen the likes of Scott Redding, Danny Kent, Brad Ray come through FAB-Racing. Well, Ethan Sparks may just be that next one. He is your 2020 AC40 Pro champion. Congratulations, Ethan Sparks. Your champion for this season, the 62, Ethan Sparks, has said that he's targeting the MKGP 70s for next season. So watch out for that one. He'll be heading out on the MKGP 50 bike later on this afternoon as well. So just 2 more races on Ethan's absolutely superlative season so far. He has definitely been my rider of the season. Just comfortably 2-time champion. But he is currently lining up in second position behind Archie Gibbs, who on Saturday managed to finish with a 49.589 in pole position ahead of Ethan Sparks, with Marco Holt, who's looking at making an 8th trip to the podium. Thorley Trevorrow in 4th position, with Josh Williams in 5th, with Archie O'Brien back in 6th, Luke Fitchett in 7th, with Bill Harris, who had a really good run earlier this afternoon, in 8th position, Byron Johnson in 9th, with Harrison Day 10th, with Austin Johnson 11th, and Noah Guidry rounding out the grid in 12th place. Watch out for Marco Holt lining up in 3rd position. When he's finished, it's not been outside of the top 5. He's picked up 7 podiums. He's a very strong little rider. Yeah, absolutely. We've seen him always fighting at the front of this one. The number 58 of Marco Holt. He's always been knocking on the door of podiums, even towards the front, knocking on the door of wins, and he's been really exciting to watch as well. We've had an eye on him ever since Lyd, and that'll be another rider we'll be looking to next year to be racking up points in this AC40 Pro Championship. And he's one of the many riders on this grid that are going to be looking to end this season on a high. It's the final race of the year for the AC40 Pros, the third race here at Red Lodge, and their eyes look to the lights for the final time this year. Look down to turn one, and it's a good start there from Archie Gibbs, but a brilliant start from Marco Holt. Just keeps himself in third position. Ethan Sparks just slotting himself into the whole shot rather from second place on the grid. Looking back all through the grid, there's Bill Harris in there just battling out with Noah Guillory. Byron Johnson, who had a good race earlier on, he'll be looking to end his season on a high as well, but it's Ethan Sparks who leads from Archie Gibbs and Marco Holt.
Great start there from your champion Ethan Sparks, the champion of 2020, managed to get the run down into turn one around the outside of Archie Gibbs. Marco Holt equally had a brilliant launch, just couldn't quite get up the inside of Archie Gibbs. Behind, there's a bit of a gap between themselves and Archie O'Brien, who's then got we've got Marco Holt down at the entry to the S's section, so that's your third place rider at the start of this one, unfortunately down and now at the back end of this grid, so he's going to have to restart and get back on it and close in on this battle that's going to be raging, I imagine, all the way down from Thorley, that's taking himself down to 10th position. But up in the front, it is very much Ethan Sparks and Archie Gibbs. And how many times, Trystan, have we seen this battle on circuit?
We were just singing the praises of Marco Holt, but you're always seeing these two, Ethan Sparks, Archie Gibbs, always out the front together, battling it out. They always seem to get wins on each other, but it's Ethan Sparks who's got the most wins this year, and that is why he is this year's champion. But they're battling it out now on circuit. Who's going to take this final win of the season with 8 laps to go? Will it be Sparks or will it be Gibbs? Thorley Trevorrow is enjoying a good third place in this race at the moment, but he's going to have to fend off the likes of Joshua Williams, Archie O'Brien, a name we see high up in the standings in the LC40 Elite class as well, and also doing very well here in the AC40 Pros. He's picked up a number of podiums here as well, but it's this battle for third place, and Austin Johnson also in there, and Byron. So those two having a good race there, not too far from podium positions at all, and considering they've only moved up into the AC40 Pros halfway through this season, that is extremely impressive stuff from the former AC40 rookies riders. But it's Thorley Trevorrow who is still defending this third place from Josh Williams. Archie O'Brien in there, Bill Harris, that's a good ride from him as well up there, but it's Ethan Sparks who's still leading this race ahead of Archie Gibbs. Ethan's just got a little bit of breathing space on Archie. Archie's not quite close enough to make a move stick at the moment, but still 7 laps to go in this race, and I'm sure Archie will be having a go at Ethan wherever he can. Yeah,
Archie Gibbs, who's taken 4 wins on the season. His non-score at Rara in race 3 was the first time he hadn't scored in a race since the opening race of the season back in Lid just a couple of months ago, so it's been really consistent for Archie. Just unfortunately a couple of errors here and there as Marco Holt's now starting to close back in after that fall early on. He's starting to get himself involved in this battle as he comes across the line. Already back up into 10th position is Marco Holt, so we'll see now if that 58 can get back on the pace and back involved in this battle, because you see Bill Harris fighting with Archie O'Brien there. Now Bill Harris went down in race 2, went to the back and fought through, almost magically coming back through the circuits and coming back through a lot of these riders. So obviously very, very confident in these greasy conditions when he keeps it on 2 wheels.
Yeah, and that tells me that he's got some real pace in these wet conditions, and he's definitely going to be one to watch out for in this race, because he finished in a good position last time out, even whilst crashing out of the race. So he's going to have some pace here in these wet weather conditions, just trying to get through on the number 91 of Archie O'Brien. Archie, who has had 7 podiums in this category, 1 win back at Wilton Mill as well, so is a well-established rider in this category. And Bill Harris currently trying to find his way past the number 1, and that will be for 5th position. But that battle is a battle for 3rd position overall in this race as well. Just looking at Luke Fitcher and Austin Johnson battling it out further back. That's the battle for 7th, and Marco Holt has now found his way through on Luke Fitcher and Austin Johnson, and he's catching this battle for third now. So despite that crash earlier on, he could find himself in a podium position. Yeah, watch out for Marco Holt in the 58. He will be getting quicker and quicker, but just 5 laps left to go in this one, and it's Ethan Sparks that leads away from Archie Gibbs. However, the battle behind is very much going on for a podium position with Thorley Trevorrow, Josh Williams, Archie O'Brien, Bill Harris,
Byron Johnson and Marco Holt all swapping positions here, and it's changing lap for lap, corner for corner. You can see Holt has dropped back a little bit there, but he's being swarmed. They're almost 3 wide down the back straight. He's getting close, but well, this could go anywhere at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Just picked up 2 positions on that back straight there. Did Marco Holt a brilliant move under braking down into the final corner. Now all over the rear wheel of Archie O'Brien. He's going to be looking to get past him as quickly as he can. He can see that there's a podium place at the front of this group, and he wants it. He got crashed out earlier on, but now has some blinding pace in this race. 55.8 on that last lap, and that's 2 seconds a lap quicker than the riders he's battling with. Just makes his way underneath Archie O'Brien now. Archie has a look to the inside, can't quite make a move stick there, but now Marco's sights are going to be on Josh Williams and Thorley Trevorrow just in front of him, so he could be back in contention for a podium here. What can the number 58 do about Joshua Williams? He's getting real close up onto the back wheel of Josh Williams as they go down the back straight one more time. After this lap, there'll be 2 more laps to go for Marco Holt, and it does make his way up into 4th place. Now just 1 more position to go, and he'll be in 3rd place in this race. Just tucked in there behind the number 42 of Thorley Trevorrow. Has a look down into turn 1. Can't make a move stick there. Thorley just managed to shut the door really well into turn 1. But now there's plenty more corners for Marco to have a go, and 3 laps for Marco to try and get himself up onto that podium.
I just have to make special mention to Bill Harris. What a move there going into the S's in that last section around Archie O'Brien. In fact, himself and Archie are going to go side by side, but he gets a really good run straight up the inside there of Josh Williams and up into 5th position. Great move there from Harris. He's definitely out there having a lot of fun sweeping, taking a much wider line. Marco Holt taking a look to the inside of Thorley Trevorrow in 3rd position. Marco, who dropped down to last on the grid after a fall on the first lap, and he's now back up into 3rd position. What a ride from Marco Holt. Got
brilliant drive out of that corner onto the back straight, and it helped him just get past him down the straight. That was a brilliantly timed, nice, clever little move from Marco Holt. And now you'd have to think, with the pace he's got compared to these riders, he's caught them very, very quickly. You're going to have to think that he's going to be able to pull away from these guys. But one rider that's managed to pull away from the whole field is the number 62 of Ethan Sparks, your 2020 AC40 Pro champion. The only rider in this category to pick up 3 wins from 3 in a single round, and he's looking like he's going to do it again this weekend. But it's Marco Holt out the front of this one in this battle for 3rd place. Ethan Sparks leading the race overall, and he goes on to complete the final lap in his AC40 Pro Championship.
Yep, the final time we will most likely see Ethan Sparks in the AC40 Pro class as he heads up to bigger and better things, and he's just got a few more corners to do so as he enters the 180 for the final time here in 2020. Well, if he takes this race win, if he makes it around the final lap, then he's going to make it an absolutely stunning 50% win rate on the season, which is unbelievable to be that consistent and that dominant. 17 podiums, well, it's now going to be 19 podiums. He's looking at only 1 non-scorer as that's down. One goes right, that's Thorley Trevorrow that's gone down on the final lap, battling as Ethan Sparks almost loses it as he goes out the S's down the back straight. So at the last moment, Ethan possibly just losing sight, but he comes around the final corner, no one in sight. Ethan Sparks makes it 2 from 3. He is your winner here, the AC40 Pro class. What a win from him. He is the 2020 champion, and it is well deserved. Behind, the battle is still raging on. Marco Holt, who had that fall earlier on, went right to the back of the field. He's fought through. He's going to get himself a podium finish. What a fight back for Marco Holt. Bill Harris, brilliant result there, moving up from 8th until 4th. And then you've got Josh Williams, Archie O'Brien, Byron Johnson and Austin Johnson. Luke Finchett dropping to 9th position with Noah Guillory, and unfortunately Thorley comes across the line after that fall on that last lap. But Ethan Sparks finishing off the season in supreme style as Archie Gibb pops himself a wheelie down the back straight.
Yeah, all these riders can celebrate a brilliant year of racing here in the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. Ethan Sparks then finishes off the year as the AC40 Pro champion for 2020. A double champion this year, winning the MKGP 50s, winning the AC40 Pros, and he's done it in fine style, just trying to pop a wheelie on this final lap for the AC40 Pros. He's going to come into the paddock on that Minimoto for the final time. Ethan Sparks, a name to look out for in the future. And there it is, and Ethan Sparks won the race by 4.2 seconds ahead of championship rival Archie Gibbs. Marco Holt, a brilliant third place after crashing out earlier on in the race. Bill Harris, a good fourth place from him. Josh Williams will be happy with both taking fifth place ahead of Archie O'Brien. Byron Johnson in seventh, Austin Johnson in eighth. Luke Fitchett were in ninth place on the number 7 machine, just ahead of Noah Guillory on the number 41, who rounds out your top 10 for the final race of the year for the AC40 Pros. And what a race that was, and what a ride from Marco Holt, coming crashing out and then recovering to pick up a podium in the final race of the year.
Yeah, great to see from Marco Holt. The really strong pace late on in that one, and that is the season closer for the AC40 Pros. They will be back in 2021.